This week, my Joy at Work message to you is about optimism and worry. And I want to share this in the context of my experience as a business owner over the last 5 years. 5 years ago this month, I took the leap from the safety of a job to business ownership. I had an idea and I wanted to see if I could make it happen while I still had the energy and the resources to do it. Since then, I've noticed how much a lifetime as an employee has helped me with the content of my work. But at the same time, that mindset can be a challenge to running a business, and it's so nuanced and subtle. There are so many things that you have to interpret and apply differently as a business owner, and one of those things is the strategy for self-motivation. For me, I've always used a combination of worry and optimism for self-motivation. As an employee, worry was a useful strategy for success. I was constantly asking myself these kinds of questions. Am I relevant? Is this working? Is my work having the results that others want? Am I in the right conversations? How can I compete? How can I level up? Where is the company going? What do I need to learn? Where do I need to be? And how do I need to show up? This kind of worry made me sharp. It helped me frame my ambiguous change work in the context of a corporate environment, which meant I did well for many years. I always got to do change work, which is amazing in and of itself, but I also got to lead big projects with big budgets and do some genuinely interesting work. Many times I got to imagine what work could be like and invent and bring it to life inside the walls of a corporation. It was a worry strategy that helped me do that. At the same time, I had an optimism strategy. Optimism helped me filter out the naysayers and the people who couldn't see my vision, which I could understand, and focus on what I could influence and control. Optimism helped me make things happen that seemed unlikely, if not impossible. It also helped me imagine and invent and bring things to life and fail and bounce back. But optimism was always second. In that environment, worry was helpful so that you could see and manage the risk, which was why it was first and foremost. And optimism kept me going. What I've come to realize as a business owner is that these two strategies have flipped in priority. Optimism has more utility to me today than worry. Worry puts me in a fearful place, of course, which is why it's useful, but I find that's more inhibiting than motivating. I get a much better result when I stay optimistic, then look through the lens of worry as a strategy to manage risk. The reason I'm sharing this with you is it may be relevant to you in this prolonged pandemic world, whether you're an employee or not. I'm reminded of a podcast episode of Martin Seligman, who was interviewed a year into the pandemic. Dr. Seligman is the founder of positive psychology, and the podcast host was interested in what could be applied in the pandemic situation. And what he said was fascinating. He said, during the pandemic, you should have as much fun as possible doing the things you enjoy as a way to cope. But the really fascinating thing, he said, was that leaders who are optimistic will be more successful and have the advantage in the post-pandemic world. Leaders who believe you can bounce back and that good things can happen in the future, despite what's happened in the recent past, are more likely to succeed than those who don't think this way. So I bring this to you because optimism could be more useful to you now than it has been in the past. We seem to have a hangover of burnout, which is justified and legitimate in so many ways. But the story we tell ourselves about the situation we're in has everything to do with how well we cope and flourish within it. Things may not be as bad as the story we tell ourselves. It's just something to consider. I'm not suggesting that what we're each coping with isn't justified, only that making room for optimism could be good for you and the people you work with. So my Joy at Work message to you for this week is to consider an optimism strategy to help you succeed at work today. There's certainly plenty to worry about. Maybe consider what you're hopeful about and hang out there for a while. What is going well for you? Maybe you could ask your colleagues what's going well for them and what they're hopeful about. And as we always say at The Change Decision, how you think and how you feel and how well you take care of yourself matters to a lot of people. And we believe in you. Go create joy. Happy Monday.